What up, YouTube? This is Leasa, one half of the Long Story Long blog. It's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I am in my closet trying to figure out what to wear and getting ready to go out to beg for food. It's true. I need food to bring home. I need food to eat today. I'm hoping for a multitude of a variety of a smorgasbord of options. I want to come home with grocery bags like I just went to the grocery store. That's what I want. I got to milk this whole starving student thing for as long as I can. I don't have much longer to milk it. So this is my last grandstand as claiming to be a starving student. But before I get out the door, what I wanted to do was talk about this week's blog post. Every week Jay and I post a blog, and I wanted to discuss, our rationale for coming up with this topic. So this week we chose racism, and let me start by saying I'm far from qualified for speaking of racism outside of my own experiences with it. And I personally have experienced racism so thick that you could pick it up and carry it with you. Like I've definitely experienced it, and my experiences wasn't a nastiness to it. So you can imagine, or, I certainly can imagine that how hard it would be to deal with it if it was that thick and laced with just nasty. So I understand, I think the tone of the country is very racially charged right now. And I think it's stemming from, our president being black. And I think our president being black was a great thing. But what it also did was brought racism out of places that maybe we had forgotten that racism existed. I don't think you can live in this country and think that racism is not present. But I think that advances that we've made, some of us, and not just as a black person in this country, but as people in this country, maybe thought, no racism. Civil rights movement got rid of all that. Did it? So I think we're just racially driven right now between, and there's a lot of kids at a lot of universities that are going through some upheavals because they feel like, they're not being dealt with fairly. It's, it's motivated behind race. If it's being supported by the school, if it's happening on campus, if it's happening with the sorority, if it's happening with the fraternity, again, whatever capacity it's happening, I support any and all uprisings. I think uprisings are necessary. I think they're important. I think they are what gets things done, and not just this country, but the world. And so I support it. I think there's also a lot of upheaval going on right now related to police brutality and how people are being treated in black communities versus how they're being treated in other communities. Again, I think people think that it's motivated by racial reasons. I think, that it's a horrible, terrible thing. People are losing their sons, their wives, their daughters, their husbands, their fathers. It's awful. Again, I support it. I'm here in Baltimore. I mean, the world knows we had a riot. My biggest regret is that I wasn't in a position to go out there as well. I wasn't. However, my heart was with them, just like it was in Ferguson, just like it was in New York. I think it's necessary, and I think it's the only way to invoke change. I think the only reason why those police officers are standing trial right now or getting ready to stand trial, I think the first trial is the jury selection has begun, is because of that uprising. I think that, not saying that our prosecutor wouldn't have been heavy-handed with it, but I think the pressure of her being heavy-handed and applying as many charges as she could and doing some of the things that she did was stemming from the city crying and saying, you know what, we need to make this happen. This is not right. That woman's son is dead and somebody needs to pay for it. I 100% agree. But I think overall, as society moves away from being just sort of heavily focused on your own particular region or country and more of a global society, I think we have to look at racism as a global thing. It's not just white people and black people. It's Arabs, it's Muslims, it's Jews, it's people of Latin descent, it's Hispanics, it's all kinds of different sort of groups of people that at the end of the day all are being discriminated against for various reasons. Other groups of people carry certain prejudices about them. prejudice about them. Some people I just think that it's just, we have to start looking at the issue globally. And the reason why I think that is because I think that if we understand certain things, if we understand why slavery was abolished and did it really change the tone of the country, if we understand that although the civil rights movement definitely made some huge advances for us as Black people, but it stopped, and then what happened once it stopped, I think we can start to understand. If we understand why other countries who face discrimination maybe handle it differently or are dealing with it worse than we are or better than we are, I think we can start to understand what it is that racism is about, what it is that prejudice is about, and how we can do some things to sort of change it, because it's not something that we can stop. You can't stop somebody's ideals. People are being raised and coming to an understanding of this group bad, I don't like them. That's not something that you can stop. You can't just stop it. You can't just stop people from being discriminated against. You can't stop it. You could say we don't support it. You could say we're going to pass laws to, punish you if you do it. We could say, we're going to apply the law evenly regardless of who you are. We can say all that kind of stuff. We're not stopping it. So I think you also have to understand that it's not going to stop. And what you have to do is change the ideology behind it. You have to start changing the minds of people. Additionally, you also have to understand that we all are prejudiced. We all have things that we are prejudiced against, whether it's multiple groups, if it's a race, if it's a sex, if it's a lifestyle. Like right now, although it may be a bit gauche to call me a nigga to my face, to just say Lisa's a nigga might be a little tacky. So you think it, but you don't say it. The LBGT community is being persecuted right now, and it's socially acceptable. It is socially acceptable to pass huge, horrible judgments and to ridicule these people. I think that needs to be addressed because it's not okay. And it's definitely a form of discrimination. It's a form of racism. Perhaps not racism. I don't know if that would be like a classism, but it's definitely socially acceptable to pass judgment on those people who are living their lives, not bothering you, not bothering me, just saying, you know what, this is how I want to live. This is what I want to do in my house. And it's socially acceptable to just ridicule those people. It's not okay. So I think overall, in terms to really, as sort of a world, change some of the thought processes and some of the dynamics behind race relation and some of the prejudices that we carry, and some of the understandings of where they came from, where those stereotypes come from, what are they about, why do we have them, what's going on. If you want to look at this country, you got to look at, can we really expect to be without racism or without prejudices when slavery was stopped for the reasons it was stopped? And I think if you don't know, I ain't trying to give you no history lesson, but if you do a little bit of reading, you'll understand that it wasn't because Abraham Lincoln was just some person that was completely just above board and at a higher moral standing than the rest of the country at that time. There were other motivators that were driving him, and those motivators didn't necessarily have anything to do with Black people or slaves. It had to do with money and his position in the world of this country. I think that if you understand that although the civil rights movement made huge advancements, it stopped. And then if you understand that it basically stopped, you can also understand why we are in the position that we're currently in. Yes, technology has advanced, education has advanced, folks are making more money across all channels, but we still have a disparity in unemployment rates. We still have a disparity in education. We still have a social economic problem that is huge. And I think that if you understand, well, what happened, then you'll know, oh, that's why we're here. And if that's the case, until we start making those things known, until we put that out there, until we understand that, then we can't come to the table and really effectively change the ideals of people, because it's in the fabric. For this country, it's in the fabric of it. It's what we're built on. We're built on a level of discrimination and racism and prejudices and, squashing of these people, and those people aren't worthy, and we don't want to deal with these people, and separatism in this nature. And so if you understand all that, I think it gives you a different perspective on what racism is about, how to solve it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on Turkey Day. I'm no scholar. There are people much smarter than me working on this problem, and let's all take a collective sigh of relief that they are, because Lord knows I'm not smart enough to solve this problem. So if you want to hear more of my random nonsense and J's, you can follow us. Listen, you can follow us, you can like us, you can send us mean messages, you can post mean pictures, you can listen to us, you can read us, you can do all kinds, you can see us on our website. It's longstorylongtheblog.com. We there. All of our stuff, all of our dirt is done there. And if you want to follow me and see what I'm talking about, you can catch me on Facebook, or you can find me on Instagram. Of course, on Instagram, I am Leasa. Remember my crazy spelling name, _long story long. My crazy name is Leasa. And if you want to find me on Facebook, it's Leasa M. Hux, Hux. On Facebook. I'm there doing most of my dirt. It's true. All right. So tomorrow, Jay and I back in the lab. Jay's being real covert about this whole Black Friday thing. I don't know if I'm be in the streets fighting over an Xbox. I don't know if I'm going to be bursting through the doors of Walmart at 2 a.m. I don't know if I'm going to be dragging a TV out of Target. I don't know if I'm going to be in the streets. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. But either way, we're going to be together doing it one time and hopefully recording it for you. So we'll catch you then. All right. Bye.